What made you realize you're trans, if you don't mind me asking? I know it's like generic to say, and it's not helpful because not everybody experiences this, but it was very much a deep-rooted, I kind of knew this for a long time. Like, I remember having thoughts whenever I was like 10, thinking like, oh, well, I guess everybody just wants to be a girl. I never thought on that part. I remember having those thoughts when I was like 10. In my case, it was if there was a button I could press to instantly become a girl, would I press it? And I'm like, yeah, I'd press that. What the? I'd press that now. Heartbeat. Back whenever I thought I was cis. I was like, holy shit, yeah, of course I'd press that before I ever even started questioning gender. I think the thing that finally like cracked my egg, quote unquote, would be probably just trans memes. I'll be honest. I don't know. I was like, I related really hard to these, and then I looked into it more, and I'm like, damn, I'm definitely not cis. I'm definitely not cis. I kind of just sat on that for a little bit, went through, tried to figure out exactly what was correct for me. I went from he, him, he, they, he, they, them, they, she, they, and now I'm at she, her. It was just like a slow over time. It was like, I know that I hated being called anything masculine, and anything that was not societally perceived as feminine felt wrong, if that makes sense. Like, I think the thing that made me fully realize I was trans femme is that like being called they, them felt exhausting. It didn't feel like the pain that I had, but like anytime I had they, them referred to me, it just felt exhausting. It felt like just something wasn't right. And then I got called she, her for the first time, and holy world lit up. And that's kind of what happened. I know that was probably a much longer winded answer than you expected, but it's hard to just sum it up with just a few words, you know? Because it was a very long journey. There was no like key point where I was like, oh, I'm trans. It was, well, there were points that I said verbally, I'm trans, but like, it was like a build up, you know? Making my first pick crew, I was like, oh, hang on. Something feels really good here. Hang on. Making like alt accounts to be perceived like as a girl. Yeah, something felt correct here. Even like as a kid, right? Making like girl characters to play in video games always made me a lot happier than anything else. Being perceived as a girl was like, yeah, no, there's something here. I never, ever thought about it at the time. Because I'm just like, oh, well, you know, it's because, oh, well, they get cuter clothes. Therefore, like, oh, more customization. That's what, like, I know a lot of trans people say, like, their original start to trying, like, girl characters was, oh, well, they get more options. They get more, like, cute options. They get options that I like better. Ultimately boils down to, I like being perceived as this better. The wildest things we say to ourselves when we don't realize. As a kid, it's like you're finding anything to grasp onto to not have to go through the long journey of figuring out your gender, because it's intimidating. Especially in the world today, it's intimidating. It's such a rewarding journey, and you should do it. You should absolutely do it, but it is intimidating. I would always say, well, I've already played through the character. I've already played through another character, so like, I just want to play something new, you know? I want to see something different. That was my excuse. Never made me think when I would wonder about what being a girl would be like. Everyone thinks like that, right? Turns out, no, cis people don't really think that way. Yeah, it turns out cis people don't really question their gender that much. Because I would think about it a lot. I would think about it a lot, right? And then I learned that not everybody thinks about that. And I'm like, oh, hang on, there's something deeper here. And it turns out I'm just a woman. That's the reason. Before coming out, it was to my brain, it was like, how the f if you could be anything, why wouldn't you be a woman? And it's because I'm trans. That's why. I love being open because one, it's something I genuinely do adore talking about, and two, it can help a lot of people, so it's a win-win. No, never thought about gender too much until I realized that being a girl was an opportunity, and I was like, oh, I understand. Everything makes so much more sense now. Can I have the button you were talking about earlier? Hey, Tuck, I got a thing for you, right? If you're asking for the button to become a girl, you are already a girl. That is how it works. Thank you so much. I'm crying. I'm just here to tell your brain the things it needs, I guess. Since people overcomplicate out of it. Whatever, it's literally just, we want to be happy. We just want to be happy. When I would hang out in queer circles, I'm just like, I feel seen. But why do I feel seen? Because like, I hadn't questioned even my sexuality at that point. Us as trans people, we just want to exist, right? We just want to exist as ourselves. It's a cis heteronormative society pushing bullshit gender roles and bullshit gender rules. Gender is a very personal journey. It's what you feel, right? There is no one way to be any gender whatsoever. There is no one way to be any gender. Gender is how you define it for yourself and nothing else. That's it. Your gender or lack thereof is defined by you. And nobody else can change that. Not a single person in this world can change how you are, how you truly are. If you need to hear this, You don't need dysphoria to be trans. That's trans medicalism. You don't need dysphoria to be trans. Why should we spend our entire lives trying to minimize our discomfort whenever to minimize our sadness, whenever maximizing our happiness matters just as much? You don't have to have dysphoria to be trans at all. You can have like zero dysphoria and be trans. If you genuinely just feel like you would be happier, you would feel more comfortable, and your life would be better as another gender, yeah, you're trans. You know, if you want to use the trans label, obviously. But like, yeah, in my case, it's like I knew I would feel better living as a woman, and I do. I feel so much better. I feel so much better, right? Like, yes, I have a lot of dysphoria to go along with it, but like, my dysphoria is not what defines me. It is the happiness that I get from being a woman. I say it's not that, like, cis people overcomplicate it, but that's not to say that it's easy. It is a difficult journey to go through. Like, if you feel better as a different gender than what you identify with at current moment, you need to do a little digging. I can't be the one to tell you that you're trans, but you got to do a little bit more thinking there. You got to do a little bit more self-discovery. Dysphoria is not what defines you being trans. You being trans is what defines you being trans. It's not defined by the pains that we experience. It's defined by the happiness and the joy and the it existing. And it existing being like the transness that exists within us, the queerness that exists within us, all of that. Because ultimately, gatekeeping queerness it's the least helpful thing we can do. It's very unhelpful. That's why I always say, like, don't conform to a label, make that label conform to you. Very big thank you to you and chat. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of chat. I'm just sharing my experience, and I'm helping those that I can during my process of speaking, you know? It's been a bit since I've done a stream highlights video like this, but I really hope that you all enjoyed. And I hope you were able to get something out of the words that my Twitch chat and I discussed in this video. I also want to give an extra thank you to the following channel members for supporting me financially. Thank you, Prisma Mirage, and thank you, Evie. That's all for me now. I love and appreciate you all. I'm proud of you, and if you want to find me anywhere else, all those links are in the description. Stay safe out there, everyone.